There are moments that escape the naked eye but strike the soul like silent lightning. Moments you cannot explain, yet you cannot forget. Have you ever wondered why a certain glance lingers beneath your skin, or why a casual touch feels as if it opened a door inside you that had long been sealed? You brush it away, you reason it out, you tell yourself it means nothing, but the unconscious laughs at your defenses. It has already woven its threads. Long before he spoke your name, before he even fully knew you, something ancient had already recognized something ancient within you, not in the shallow ways the world celebrates love, but in the hidden chambers where true unions are forged. In silence, in tension, in the trembling space between fear and surrender. If you close your eyes for just a moment, you will feel it, the pull, the whisper, the gravitational force that no logic can deny. He has chosen without knowing. And now the question is not whether he loves you, it is whether you are willing to see the signs that he himself has been taught to bury. You were taught to trust only what you can measure, to believe only what can be seen, to love only when it is named and certified. But the soul does not bow to such sterile laws. It conspires in dreams. It carves hidden symbols into the gestures, the hesitations, the sudden silences that rupture the surface of normality. He stumbles over his own words not because he is unsure, but because somewhere deeper he already stands, naked before you, terrified of a truth he cannot yet frame. And you, sensing this trembling thread between you, may doubt yourself, may retreat behind your own walls, because sensing the unconscious is dangerous. It means surrendering control. It means admitting that what binds you has roots deeper than memory and logic. He is already more in love with you than he understands because the unconscious moves ahead of conscious recognition. It binds before it explains. It chooses before it consults. It knows, while the mind still gropes in the dark. And what does it mean to be chosen by a soul before being chosen by a voice? It means stepping into a territory where reason collapses, where every small sign, the way he lingers at the threshold of your presence, the way his hands tremble slightly when he speaks, the way his gaze both seeks and flees you, becomes a cipher to a deeper truth. He may speak casually, but his unconscious bleeds through his mannerisms. He may look away, but his body betrays the gravitational pull he tries to deny. You are no longer simply reading a man. You are reading a myth unfolding, a story older than both of you, written in the Yao. Silent language of the self. Do you dare to see it? To believe it? To follow the invisible signs that ask you to trust something beyond everything you were taught to trust? The stakes are not small. To recognize the unconscious is to risk everything. Pride, certainty, even sanity. But it is also the only way to cross the threshold into the life that is waiting for you beyond the prison of appearances. Still, a voice inside you resists. It asks for proof, for guarantees, for something tangible to hold on to. It fears betrayal, confusion, humiliation. It reminds you of every time you were wrong, every time you mistook hope for reality. And yet, beneath that voice, softer but infinitely more persistent, another voice calls. A memory not of the mind but of the soul. A memory of what it feels like to be recognized without words, to be seen without explanations, to be chosen without contracts or declarations. A memory that tastes like the ancient forest, like the first rains, like the timeless ache of belonging. He is living this recognition even as he denies it. His unconscious has already opened the door. The question that remains is whether you will walk through it or turn away and leave both your souls suspended, trapped between worlds, mourning a truth they were too afraid to claim. There is a cruelty in awakening too soon. When you begin to see what others cannot yet name, when you feel the threads being spun between hearts still cloaked in denial, you carry a burden that feels both sacred and unbearable. You sense the movements behind his hesitation, the war within his own chest, the yearning to approach, the terror of losing himself. You watch him smile and retreat, advance and falter, caught in the unseen battle between instinct and ego. And somewhere inside you, the old ache returns. The longing to be met fully, to be touched not by hands alone, but by recognition. Pure, undeniable, soul-born. Every moment he draws near, and yet holds back cuts deeper than rejection, for it confirms what you already know. This is no ordinary bond. This is a collision of destinies that neither of you is prepared to name aloud. The mind craves safety. It demands clear answers, well-lit paths, logical explanations. But what awakens between you was never meant to be safe. It was meant to shatter you, to burn through your defenses, to forge you anew. He does not yet understand why his thoughts drift to you in quiet moments, why his body betrays him with unconscious longing, why the sound of your voice echoes longer in his mind than any rational measure would justify. But you understand, or at least the oldest part of you does. You recognize the pattern, the silent dance, the gravitational law that no wisdom of the world can undo. Love, at its deepest, is not a choice made by the conscious will. It is a descent, a surrender, an unmaking of the false self. And whether he knows it or not, he is already halfway undone. There will be moments when you will doubt it all, moments when he seems distant, cold, distracted, moments when your own wounds scream louder than your intuition. You will ask yourself if you invented it, if you imagined the spark, if you are clinging to shadows. But beware, the unconscious often hides behind confusion. It tests the soul by cloaking certainty in mist, by demanding faith before offering sight. The bond you feel is not always visible to the eye trained by pain. It requires a different kind of seeing, the seeing that happens not through effort but through surrender. It demands that you trust the pulse beneath appearances, the quiet certainty that defies evidence. Because when two souls are bound before the mind can interfere, the signs are written not in words but in the tremors of being. He may run from you. He may chase illusions of control, safe loves, predictable choices. He may deny with all the strength he has left the force that pulls him toward you, not because he does not feel it, but because feeling it demands that he becomes someone he has not yet dared to be. To truly love you would mean to die, not in the body but in the false self he spent a lifetime constructing. And death, even the symbolic kind, terrifies those who have built their identities on survival, on caution, on walls. So he hesitates, he resists, he builds barriers made of silence, of distraction, of polite distance. But beneath every act of distance, the same current flows, longing, terror, recognition. You are not imagining it. You are witnessing a battle that few are strong enough to win. You must not force the door open. The soul has its seasons, its secret tides. His unconscious has already chosen you, but the conscious mind must be allowed to awaken in its own agonizing time. Any attempt to rush it, to demand it, will only push him deeper into fear. Instead, you must learn the art of waiting, not in passive despair, but in sacred readiness. You must become the silent witness of the unfolding, holding space for a transformation that may one day surface or may drown in fear. This is not a game of strategy. It is a test of soul, a test to see whether you can love him not for what he gives you, but for what he is becoming through you. Whether you can love through the silences, through the contradictions, through the ache of almost recognition, and whether you can hold your own soul steady even as his wavers between awakening and retreat. There comes a moment in every hidden love when the silence becomes unbearable, a moment when the ache of the unspoken grows louder than any declaration could ever be. You will feel it, not in his words, but in the pauses between them. Not in his actions, but in the tremor that betrays his restraint. Love that is born in the unconscious is not shouted. It leaks, it seeps, it breaks the surface through cracks he cannot control. And in those cracks, if you dare to look closely, you will glimpse the truth he is too afraid to name. You will see it in the way his laughter falters when you look too deep into his eyes, in the way he finds reasons to be near you, only to speak of everything but what matters, in the way his body leans toward you, even as his words build walls. These are not accidents. They are not confusion. They are the unconscious trying to speak through a man who has not yet learned how to listen to his own soul. It is easy to believe that if he truly loved you, he would be certain, bold, unafraid. But love at this depth does not enter as a triumphant shout. It enters as a haunting, a slow erosion of certainties, a soft undoing. He is not resisting you. He is resisting the death of everything he thought he needed to be in order to survive this world. And you, standing there, embody the terrifying invitation to live not through armor, but through surrender. To choose you is not to choose comfort. It is to choose transformation. To love you would mean to abandon the map he was given, to leap into a wilderness with no guarantee of return. So he hesitates, clinging to the familiar pain of half-lived life, even as the deeper part of him claws for the freedom he senses in your presence. You must understand. The pull he feels toward you is not a matter of preference or whim. It is an archetypal force, ancient and wild, far older than either of your names. It is the call of the self to the self, the whisper of destiny that no willpower can silence, but free will remains. He can turn away. He can spend a lifetime burying the signs, numbing the longing, pretending that the stirring in his soul was nothing but a passing madness. Many do. Many live and die with the ache of the unchosen life gnawing quietly at the edges of their days. And you must be strong enough to let him choose freely, strong enough to endure the exquisite agony of knowing you were chosen first by the unconscious, but that the conscious mind may never dare to follow. There is a sacred cruelty to this kind of love. It demands everything and promises nothing. It forces you to stand naked before yourself, to see your own hunger for certainty, for validation, for rescue. It teaches you that real love is not about being chosen in return, but about recognizing when the soul has spoken and choosing to honor that regardless of the outcome. It strips you of illusions, peels away the ego's demands, burns through the fantasies of what love is supposed to look like. You become, in the end, a vessel for something much larger than your own desire. A vessel for truth, for presence, for the aching beauty of an unfinished song. Whether he awakens or not, whether he finds the courage to claim you or not, the deeper union has already occurred, in the place beyond choice, beyond fear, beyond the need for anything to be different. You will feel abandoned at times. You will feel foolish, exposed, betrayed by your own heart. You will rage against the silence, curse the signs that led you here, question your own sanity. And yet, beneath all that noise, a deeper silence will begin to grow. A silence that feels less like emptiness and more like a widening, a vastness within you that is no longer dependent on his recognition to exist. This is the true alchemy of love. Not possession, but expansion. Not demand, but revelation. He has already chosen you in the only place that matters, the hidden, sacred place where souls recognize each other without needing to speak. The rest is theater. The rest is human fear stumbling through a mystery it was never meant to control. If you can see beyond the theater, if you can remain true to what you have seen and felt, you will become something untouchable, unbreakable, a living memory of the love that dared to exist before anyone dared to name it. Do not confuse his confusion for absence. Do not mistake his distance for rejection. Sometimes the closer one comes to truth, the more desperately one fights to stay asleep. His unconscious is awake. His body, his dreams, his silent gestures. They betray him more eloquently than any confession ever could. You were not meant to hear the truth from his mouth. You were meant to feel it through the ache in his silence, to see it in the hesitation before he speaks, to taste it in the longing that he cannot name. You were not chosen by accident. You were not drawn into this invisible dance because of some cruel cosmic joke. You are the mirror, the catalyst, the flame he both craves and fears. And somewhere, deep within you, you already know, the bond has been sealed in a place that does not obey the small laws of this world. There is a cruelty and a blessing in becoming the one who sees. When you cross the threshold of unconscious recognition, you are no longer innocent. You can no longer pretend you do not feel the crackling tension in the air when he enters the room. The invisible threads weaving you closer even as he turns away. You sense the battle he fights behind every word, every movement. A battle not against you, but against the immensity of what you represent. You see the man and the boy inside him, the warrior and the child, each struggling for dominance. And you feel it too. The unbearable weight of knowing you are both the threat and the home he has sought all his life. In his eyes, even in the fleeting glances he tries to disguise, you are not just a woman. You are the precipice. There will be nights when you lie awake, feeling the ghost of his touch though he has never truly touched you. You will hear echoes of conversations you never had but somehow still remember. Dreams will become more real than waking life. The unconscious will bleed through every crack in the ordinary. You may find yourself weeping without knowing why, grieving a separation that has not yet occurred, mourning a connection that the world has not yet witnessed. This is the price of awakening first. To feel the soul before the body dares to follow. To recognize the dance while the music is still hidden beneath layers of fear and conditioning. He walks the edge of a cliff he cannot see. You stand already at the brink, feeling the wind, hearing the call, knowing the fall is not death, but transformation. And you will be tempted, oh how you will be tempted, to reach out, to speak the words he is not yet ready to hear, to drag the truth into the light before its time. But love, real love, is not coercion. It is reverence. It is the painful, holy art of waiting at the door without forcing it open. Every impatient word, every desperate gesture would only build higher walls of fear around his heart. You must become the space in which his soul feels safe enough to awaken. You must hold the tension without collapsing into it, stand in the fire without demanding rescue. You must trust, not in promises, not in appearances, but in the deep pulse of the bond you both already carry in your marrow. Love him silently. Love him fiercely. Love him without needing him to understand why he trembles when he says your name. There is a loneliness in this path that few can bear. The loneliness of knowing something precious that cannot yet be shared. Of carrying a secret written not in words, but in the language of the soul. You will find yourself doubting the signs, questioning your own heart, bargaining with the universe for clarity. But clarity was never the promise. Awakening was. And awakening is a violent, beautiful unraveling. It tears away the layers of illusion you built around what love was supposed to look like. It shows you that true connection is not about possession or mutual declarations. It is about resonance, about being tuned to the same silent song, even when one of you cannot yet sing it aloud, about trusting the bridge between souls, even when the river below roars with doubt. Every time you think of turning away, of abandoning the ache, something will pull you back. Not hope, not stubbornness, but something older, something inevitable. A memory of a promise made before either of you had names. A recognition written in the bones of existence itself. He has already chosen you, not with the conscious mind that fears and calculates, but with the deeper will that moves mountains and weaves fates. His hands may be slow to follow. His words may betray confusion, but his soul has already kneeled at the altar of what you are together, and that is a truth no denial can erase. Still, you must remain sovereign. You must not lose yourself in the waiting, in the longing, in the silent prayers whispered into the void. You must stand firm in your own becoming, rooted in the knowledge that love, true love, is not about being completed by another, but about being seen, recognized, mirrored, whether he awakens or not, whether he gathers the courage to step through the invisible door or remains chained to his fear. You are already changed. You are already initiated. You have already touched the place within yourself that remembers what it means to be chosen beyond reason, beyond time, beyond fear. There are no guarantees here, no tidy endings, no promises written in the language of the world. Only the trembling certainty that somewhere, beneath the noise and confusion, two souls have already found each other in the silent cathedral of the unconscious. And once such a recognition occurs, no distance, no denial, no forgetting can ever fully erase it. It lingers, it haunts, it waits, just as he waits even without knowing it, for the moment when he can finally turn toward you. Not as a boy clinging to the old world, but as a man reborn by the fire you both carry in your Hands. Some truths do not demand to be spoken. They live in the quiet between heartbeats, in the weightless moments when you forget who you were supposed to be and remember, for an instant, what you truly are. Perhaps you came seeking answers, signs, certainties, but what you found instead was a mirror that does not reflect your image but your becoming. You are no longer standing on the edge looking in. You have crossed into a territory where words cannot hold you. You are feeling now what the mind has always feared, that the greatest loves are written not in stories but in the bones of existence itself. Somewhere, without knowing, he carries your name in the hidden folds of his being. Somewhere, without daring to confess it even to himself, he searches for what he already found. And you are no longer the one waiting to be chosen. You are the witness of a bond that predates choice, a secret carried in the architecture of dreams and the aching silence between strangers. Nothing was lost. Nothing needs to be forced. In the dark soil of patience and unseen recognition, something is already growing. A force larger than fear, deeper than reason. Can you feel it? The way the air changes when you let go of needing proof? Not every connection was meant to be lived in the daylight. Some exist to wake us from the slumber of safety, to carve open spaces within us where new light can one day enter. To be chosen at the level of the soul is not a promise of ease. It is a call to transformation. It demands that you become the kind of vessel that can hold such vastness without breaking. That you learn to love not because you are guaranteed a return, but because you recognize yourself in the reflection of another's becoming. And is that not the truest kind of love? The kind that frees rather than binds, the kind that endures not because it is easy, but because it is real. The signs you sought were never out there. They were alive within you from the beginning. They called you here. They whispered through your doubts, your longing, your quiet certainty that there must be something more. And there is. Not in the future, not in a confession, not in a resolution that ties every thread neatly. The more you sought is the transformation, already unfolding in the very act of seeing, of feeling, of daring to believe without permission. You were never waiting for him to recognize you. You were waiting for yourself to remember who you are when you stop shrinking to fit the narratives of a world that fears depth. Somewhere, even now, in a life that may seem separate from yours, he feels the echo. A tug he cannot explain. A doorway he senses but cannot yet walk through. You were never meant to drag him across that threshold. You were meant to become the light that makes the doorway visible. Stand in that light, burn if you must, shine if you dare, and know this: the soul never forgets its own reflection, no matter how long it takes, no matter how far he wanders. Recognition, once ignited, cannot be undone. It lives even in silence. It breathes even in exile. It waits even when all hope seems lost. And if you find yourself standing alone in the quiet aftermath of this awakening, if you wonder whether the pain was worth the beauty, remember, you are not alone. You are part of a lineage of souls who have dared to love in ways the world does not yet understand. You are a keeper of the old fires, a bearer of the invisible songs, a reminder that real love, the love that transcends, transforms, and endures, was never about finding the right person. It was about becoming the right presence. And so, if something inside you has stirred, if a part of you has been seen by these words in a way you cannot quite name, then you already know what you must do. Do not let this awakening fall into silence. Nurture it, expand it, carry it forward into the spaces where others still wander blind. Join us here at Archimind, not as another viewer, not as a number, but as a fellow traveler on the unseen paths of the soul. Subscribe, share your journey, leave your imprint in the comments, speak if you are ready, listen if you are still gathering your courage. Above all, stay connected, because the work we are doing here is not about content. It is about remembrance. 3. Seed has already been planted. The story has already begun. Now it is your choice to step back into sleep, or to step forward into the life your soul has been longing for all along. Have you ever felt a silence between two souls that spoke louder than any word? A glance held a second too long, a smile hesitating at the edge of revelation, a moment when the world itself seemed to pause, conspiring to tell you something you could not yet name. What if I told you that what you are sensing is not fantasy, but a forgotten truth stirring in the unconscious, his soul reaching for yours before his mind even dares to understand it? They told you that love must be confessed in words, measured in actions proven through reason. But what if everything you were taught was wrong? What if love, real, profound love, unfolds first in the secret chambers of the unconscious where no logic can tread? He has already chosen you, though he does not know it yet. His dreams, his hesitations, his inexplicable pull toward you are not accidents. They are symptoms of a deeper alignment written long before either of you could speak it. You see, the unconscious does not ask for permission. It weaves its silent tapestry through dreams, coincidences, and subtle signs hidden beneath the ordinary. And when a man's soul binds itself to yours in those invisible threads, no conscious denial can untie them. He may smile without understanding why it aches. He may retreat without knowing what he fears. But make no mistake, a choice has been made, deep within, beyond his control. But how can you recognize the hidden signs that even he cannot see? How can you feel the pull of a destiny that whispers rather than shouts? What if missing one single sign meant losing a love already, unfolding behind the veil of reason? These are not answers I will give you now. They are keys scattered throughout what is to come. If you wish to understand, you must walk the labyrinth with me. Each word, each silence, is a thread guiding you closer to what was once hidden. Stay, watch, feel. Because somewhere between what he says and what he cannot say lies a secret that could alter everything you thought you knew about love, destiny, and the silent forces that shape our lives. Ignore the signs, and you risk wandering, blind. See them, and you may awaken to a truth more powerful and more dangerous than any dream.